Our next guest has family and colleagues in Gaza. Bushra Khalidi is with Oxfam, and we've reached her in Ramallah, which is in the West Bank. Bushra, thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you.
Bushra, I want to get to your work and your colleagues with Oxfam in just a moment, but if we could begin on the personal side with your family that's in Gaza. Have you been able to get in touch with them?
Since yesterday afternoon, the power plant shut down at 2 p.m., meaning that there's no electricity, there's no water, no phone lines, no internet. Those that do have a little internet or electricity have private generators that they're refueling themselves with fuel supplies that they probably had before this started. So I have been in touch with my family. The last time I heard from them was around maybe a couple hours ago. Communication is very short, either via text message, either me calling them in a quick call, just hearing their voice. We've been like desperately waiting for the 2 ticks, the blue ticks on WhatsApp to turn blue, because it means that their phone is on and we can assume that probably they're alive. My nephews, they're very young. They've lived their entire lives under an illegal blockade imposed by Israel and 6 escalations. It's just a recurrent reality, but this time 10 times more intense. It has been the bloodiest and most destructive round of escalation for Gazans. The family sleeps in the same bed so that if they die together. And many of our family friends have lost their homes. And so many, really, we've stopped counting.
Are they able to get out?
My family, they can get out from Gaza or get out from their house.
No, get out from Gaza.
Nobody can leave Gaza. Right. Nobody. There are international workers stuck in Gaza. The borders are of course closed, and it's a complete it's a war zone. And Rafah was bombed the day before yesterday, and therefore also closed. There's nowhere to go in Gaza. There's no shelter. Even those designated shelters are just schools. They're not fit or equipped to shelter people in adequate conditions. They're not fortified to sustain airstrikes. People are stuck under the rubble. People have nowhere to go. And that has been really the main message from our colleagues and our family, is that there's nowhere to go. Where can we go? We were on a call yesterday with our colleagues, some of them who were able to be online. And one of our colleagues said, I can't even leave my house because outside the road is so destroyed that we can't even leave. We can't walk on the street. There's nowhere to walk. There's nowhere to drive. Where are we supposed to go?
Bushra, forgive me. Let me interrupt for 1 second, because for so many of us, this is so hard to visualize or to comprehend that people do not have access to food or water or electricity or possibly even their phones. It's just, how are people surviving if this keeps up?
They're not surviving. We have almost 1,500 Palestinians that have been dead in the last 6 days. And there are so many more that are stuck under the rubble that we don't really know what the extent of the death toll is in Gaza. But it's catastrophic, really. I mean, it is a catastrophe what is happening. It is, and it's unraveling before our eyes. We are receiving so many videos. I mean, I don't even want to get into the graphics, but I've heard that some people are drinking water from the toilets. Some people are getting sick from drinking water in the toilets. I mean, they're not dying from bombs. They might die from waterborne diseases. And this is, it's all imposed by Israel. It's a collective punishment on an entire population of 2.2 million people, half of which are almost children.
Speaking of children, I know you have children, and I just wonder, how do you explain to them? Do you try to explain to them what it is that is happening?
No. We try to shield this from our children as long as we can. My colleagues too, they keep telling their children that they're going to be safe even after their house was bombed and they don't have a home anymore. They said it's going to be fine. My son, I've been protecting him as much as I can from all of this. I haven't seen my son really for the last 5 days because I've been working around the clock. But it's a question I ask myself all the time. Sorry.
It's okay. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Bushra, does a part of you wish you were, I mean, you're in the West Bank, relatively speaking, you're close, but part of you wish that you were in Gaza to help, to be with your family?
I hope that when this violence stops and parties adhere to international law and international humanitarian law, and that they allow for the safe passage of really needed medical supplies, water, hygiene kits, food. I hope that I can be part of that. I really do hope that. And that I can see my family. And hopefully, yeah.
I think most people hope for that too, that this thing gets resolved quickly. But let me ask you, Bushra, what if it doesn't? And this goes on for another few days, maybe weeks. What's going to happen to the Gaza Strip?
This is, I mean, I would like to just put this into context. This is, again, not new for Gazans. This is the sixth escalation that they lived through in the last 10 years. They have been living under strict military blockade, meaning land, air, and sea. They cannot leave anyway before this, or very few people from Gaza would be able to leave. I can't imagine what the consequences of this and potentially a military ground incursion will be on such a densely populated area. Gaza is 4 times smaller than the city of London. I mean, I would ask you that question. What do you think might happen if this does not stop?
Well, I think
entire neighborhoods have been wiped out. Entire neighborhoods.
What do you want to hear from the leadership, Palestinian leadership? What do you hope that they will do?
Palestinian leadership is unable to do anything. And I mean, right now, the focus is humanitarian relief. The focus is the provision of much needed relied assistance and the safe and unfettered access for humanitarian workers like myself to operate so that we can provide urgent relief services. The Palestinian Authority, you know, there's not much it can do.
Bushra Khalidi, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.